I think we're live, yeah.
We're live? Okay, so welcome to everybody out there in Facebook land. Greetings to everybody here. Welcome to Tuesday Mornings with Jeff. Again, first thing is, how many of you guys see something that looked like this? Okay, very good. So what do we want to do? We want to turn them off. Turn them off or put them on stun, vibrate, whatever the case may be. Very good. Now the second thing is, guys, we are a mastermind. What are we?
Mastermind.
Thank you. Thank you. The good energy this morning. I want to hear lots of energy. So who knows, other than Randy, because I know Randy knows the answer. Randy knows all the answers, right? So who knows what a mastermind is? Any ideas? Okay, Brian, what's a mastermind?
Mastermind is when two or more minds come together in the spirit of harmony.
Perfect. Let's give it up for Brian. When anytime two or more minds come together in the spirit of harmony, a third mind is formed. How many understand what I just said? Yeah, it's called synergy. What's the word? Synergy. Synergy. The whole is greater than the individual parts, right? So if you are into growing, how many of you guys are into growing? How many of you guys are into having a lot of success in your life? A lot more than you're having right now, maybe. Great. Okay, so synergy is how you get there the fastest, when you get to leverage other people's ideas and other people's thoughts. So guess who participates in a mastermind?
Everybody.
Everybody gets to participate in the mastermind. The only thing I ask is that when you have something to share, and hopefully all of you guys have something to share, you raise your hand, I will call on you, and we'll make sure that all of you guys look at my hand. So all of you guys have a chance to share what you have to share. Because how many of you guys have something to share? Everybody has something to share, right? Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to share. The only thing I ask is that there's no sidebar conversations. Do I have everybody's agreement on that?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. No sidebar conversations. So we could, if everybody could make sure that we keep that to a minimum, that would be great. Okay, now the last thing is, we're only here for 90 precious minutes. How long are we here for, guys? 90 minutes. 90 precious minutes. How long?
90 precious minutes.
And I'm going to ask you guys to make a commitment. And the key word is to make a commitment. Yeah, how many of you guys can keep your commitment? For 90 minutes to play at 100%. How many of you guys are willing to commit to play at 100% while you're here for the next 90 minutes? Awesome, thank you. Okay, very, very good. Okay, so we're ready to roll. So a couple of questions I always start with. Question number one is, how many of you guys would love to have a whole lot more money in your life? Can I see show of hands? Awesome. How many would love to have a whole lot more happiness in your life? Terrific. How many would like to have a whole lot more of both in your life? Okay, good. Well, then you're definitely at the right place. Welcome to Tuesday Mornings with Jeff. I promise you, if your goal is to be happier, healthier, wealthier, more successful, you are definitely in the right place. Now, the first thing I always like to do is I always like to acknowledge you guys for showing up, right? I mean, all of you guys had to go through a lot of effort in order to get here for 8 o'clock. How many would agree, right? So I sincerely appreciate you guys not only going through that effort, but what's the expression? 80% of all success is showing up. So pat both your partners on the back, both your neighbors, and say congratulations for showing up. Okay, very good. We have even less than a year old showing up here, right? So there's no excuses for anybody, right?
A year and a few.
What's that?
He's a year and a few.
A year and a few, pardon me, that's right, a year and a few. I was at his first birthday party, how could I forget? That's right. So you're never too young to start learning. How many would agree? Right? Absolutely. And it's great to see the kids here as well. I really believe that the sooner you learn this information, the faster you're going to see success in your life. How many want a lot of success in your life? And this is the kind of information, what you learn here is what they don't teach you in school. They should teach you in school, but for whatever reason, they left it out of the education curriculum. How many believe that you're not taught everything you need to really know to be successful? Yeah, that's the way it is. So, anytime I do any speaking, any training of any kind, I always have how many rules? I have 2 rules. How many rules do I have? 2. Thank you. I have 2 rules, and the first rule is this. Don't believe a word I say. Why do I always remind you not to believe a word I say? Why? Randy, why?
You're coming from your own experience.
Yeah, I'm only coming from my own experience, and it doesn't make it true or false. are right or wrong. It just makes it what? My experience. Yeah, but whose experience is important here today?
My
Yeah, your experience is important here today. So all I can tell you guys is that the principles that we're going to be talking about today have transformed my life and have now transformed the lives of literally thousands and thousands and
Thousands.
Thank you, thousands of other people. Hey, Joey, good to see you. And I believe that if you learn these principles, and much more important, if you actually do them in your life, I believe your life is going to be transformed too. So how many of you guys are willing to be open? And the key word is to be
Open.
Yeah, open. Very, very important that you're open. And not only you have to be open to everything that I say, because the best message that you might get here today may come from someone other than myself. How many would agree? Right? So you have to be open. What's the word? Open. Yeah, to receiving whatever message you're here to receive from whoever it is you were supposed to receive it from. You guys understand what I'm talking about? Yes. So how many guys want to be open 100%? Does anybody not want to be open 100%? Okay, we're going to fight that, right? Now, as for rule number 2, since we're spending our precious time here, by the way, how many believe your time is precious? Yeah, what's more precious than our time? Nothing is more precious than our time. Nothing. First of all, let's give it up for Corey. Yeah,
Yay, Corey.
We've got fruit cups and yogurt cups and fresh fruit and bagels and lox and cream cheese. I mean, man, we've got it all. If you're not here and you live in Phoenix, no excuse. How many would agree? There's no excuse not to be here. Right? There's no excuses, right? All right. Okay. Very good. All right. So again, thank you, Corey, so much. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. So how many of you guys are willing to be open 100%? Is anybody not willing to be open? Okay, everybody wants to be open, and now we ask, how valuable is our time, right? Well, since we're spending our precious time here, how many want to get the absolute most out of this morning? Great. How many would love to learn faster? Terrific. How many would love to remember more of what you learned? Good. And research indicates the key to that is what?
Participation.
Participation. Thank you. Participation, involvement, absolutely. So how many of you guys know I ask a lot of questions? Yeah, and what do questions do? Questions hook the mind. How many of you guys are in business or in sales or in marketing of some sort? Every hand better go up. We're all in the business of marketing, and we're all in the business of selling, whether you realize it or not. True. So if you could learn how to ask questions the right way, how many believe that just by learning how to ask the right questions in the right sequence in the right way, you could actually become rich? Right? And I actually teach, and I'm going to be teaching a 2-day program that teaches you all about how to become great at asking questions. How many think that would be a great skill to have? Okay. So there are open-ended questions and there are closed-ended questions. Who knows the difference? Yeah, what's the difference between an open-ended question and a closed-ended question? I'm sorry, out loud? Yes or no? What about yes or no?
Closed-ended is a question that they could easily answer yes or no to.
Yes or no, or blue or black. I mean, it's a one or two word answer. True or true?
True.
Okay. Now, what's an open-ended question? Go ahead, Randy.
It's one that has them thinking and explaining.
It has them talking, right? Yeah. Tell me what you think about your business. What are the biggest challenges you're facing today? That's not a kind of question that someone can answer with yes or no. It's very true. Look at this stuff that, holy, again, let's give it up for Corey, guys. I can't wait till we're done so I can eat. So, if you guys want to, raise your guys, if you really want to become successful quickly, how many want to become successful quickly? So, if you want to become successful quickly, hopefully you're going to make a lot of money. How many of you guys would like to make earn a lot of money, not make? We don't make money, we earn money. Say, we earn money. We earn money. Say, I earn money. I earn money. Yeah, we don't make money. The U.S. printing press makes money. We earn money, right? Where do we earn that money from? Where does all that money come from that's going to create our freedom? Other people. It's going to come from other people. So if all that money is going to come from other people, are they just going to hand it over to you, or are you going to have to give them something of value in return for the money they're going to give you? What do you think?
Values.
Yeah. But don't you think that in order for you to do that, you're going to have to get pretty good at dealing with people so that they're happy to give you their money in return for what you're offering? How many think that might be a good idea? Okay, so one of the secrets, and I will be teaching a lot more about this, but one of the secrets is become great at asking questions, and especially open-ended questions, so that, like in an hour conversation, you're talking 20% of the time, and they're talking 80% of the time. Which means that in a 60-minute conversation, you're going to speak for a whole 12 minutes. In the other 48 minutes, guess who's going to be speaking?
They are.
Yeah. What do you think it's true for most of you guys here when you're out there in a selling situation?
Blah, blah, blah.
It's called diarrhea of the mouth. What's it called? Amateurs. What's it called?
Amateurs.
Amateurs don't get paid. Professionals get paid. How many would agree? How many want to become a professional? How many want to make a lot of money? Did you know you can learn how to become a professional at selling?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you think it's a learnable skill. You could learn how to become a professional at selling. If you want to make a lot of money, guess what you need to become a professional at? Where's all that money coming from?
Other people.
Oh, how are you going to get it from them if you can't sell? You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so really, really important that you understand this stuff, right? And asking pre-planned questions is the skill that the real entrepreneur has that few people do. That's why there's so many professional entrepreneurs. Because every single one of them has diarrhea of the mouth. Raise your hand if you know anybody like that. Raise your hand if you know them intimately. Diarrhea of the mouth, right? Okay, so you've got to learn how to ask pre-planned questions, right? You need to learn how to ask questions. Questions keeps your audience engaged, keeps your customer engaged, and you learn a lot by asking questions. True or true? Okay, very, very good. Okay. Now, sometimes I leave the last word off the end of my sentence and your mind just goes in the blank. Very good. Absolutely. Sometimes I'll ask you to write something down. Sometimes I'll ask you to repeat things. Now, why on earth would I ever ask you guys to repeat something? Why would I ask you to repeat something? Why is that? So you can hear yourself say, I have $1 Million Habits. I love that shirt.
Yeah.
All right, outstanding. Welcome. All right, so yes, go ahead, Randy.
If you said it means one thing, if I said it means everything.
How many would agree that's true? If I say it means one thing, but when you say it means
Everything.
How many agree that's true? Yeah, anybody disagree with that? You're welcome to disagree, but that's the way it is, right? So the whole idea is I want for you guys to repeat things, and then also repetition is the mother of
Learning.
Repetition is the mother of learning. Let me hear you.
Repetition is the mother of learning.
Learning. Thank you. All right. So how many guys want to participate 100%? Yeah. Does anybody not? Okay, we're going to find out. And just for the record, how many of you guys wouldn't raise your hands no matter what I ask you? I see you show hands. Okay, we always have a couple. All right, great. All right, very good. Okay. So what we want to do before we get started, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about wealth file number, I think it's number 10. It is number 10. And so wealth file number 10 is about something that I think every single person in this room, where the heck is the beginning of it? Here it is, okay. Yes, wealth file number 10 on page 111. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. And it's such an important wealth file because we're all guilty of what Mark's going to be talking about. But before we do that, we're going to do our declaration. So what are we going to do? Declaration. Now, who can tell me what a declaration is? Anybody know? What's a declaration? Go ahead, Mitch.
Statement of intention.
Statement of intention. What about it?
I'm not sure if you're going with it. But
Okay, well, it's a statement of intention that we say out loud, right? That we put out into the universe, right? And the whole idea is it's a statement of intention, as you said, that we say out loud, and we put that message out into the universe, and we say it with emotion. We say it with what?
Emotion.
Is emotion important?
Yeah.
Why is emotion important? Feelings. Yeah, why are feelings important when we say our declarations? Why is it important that we don't just say them, we say them with emotion? Go ahead, Jonathan. Because your emotion is basically your conviction. Your conviction? Okay, I like that answer very much. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Your emotion anchors whatever word. You can say whatever the fuck you want to say, but if you don't have emotion, it doesn't anchor it to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, go ahead.
Your emotion will file the experience into your subconscious.
Yeah. There you go, Ted. Very, very good. Right, because where does everything really begin when it comes to our thoughts? In our conscious mind or our subconscious?
Subconscious.
Subconscious mind. So, and have you guys ever had a traumatic experience? Raise your hand if you've ever had a traumatic experience. When you had that experience, it was planted in your subconscious mind with a lot of emotion attached to it. True. Okay. So the more emotion there was, right? The more emotion that there was, then the more it got planted deeply inside our subconscious mind. Very true. Like if you were a kid and you were petting a dog and the dog snapped at you, do you think that might have an impact on you, like maybe for the rest of your life? Yeah. Do you think that might happen? Now, do you think every dog is going to snap at you? No. But what's the first thing you think of as soon as you see a dog?
That specific incident.
Yeah. Right? You could meet a million dogs. One of them snapped at you, and now you're afraid of dogs for the rest of your life. True. Right? Okay, so when we say our declarations, we want to say them with emotion, because the more emotion we attach to them, the more deeply they're rooted in our subconscious mind, so that when it comes time for us to recall those memories, they bubble up. You guys understand what I'm talking about? Yes. Raise your hand if you understand what I'm talking about. All right. So we're going to do the declarations. And how many of you guys don't have a declaration? How many of you need? Raise your hand if you need a copy of the declaration. So we just everybody else has? We have. Okay. So we have a few people that need. So one of the things I would suggest that you do is that you actually take a picture of it with your smartphone. Raise your hand if you don't have the declaration, so I can make sure everybody gets one. There we go. Take a picture of it with your smartphone. That way, if you forget it in the future, you always have your phone with you. Raise your hand if you always have your phone with you. Yeah, everybody has their phone with you. All right, so here we go. Raise your hand. Okay, hold on. Do you have one you can share? Okay, very good. Okay, very good. All right, so on the count of three, there we go. On the count of three, I want everybody to stand up with a little bit of energy. 1, 2, and 3. Woo! Okay, and I see Krishna. So good to see you, Krishna. Haven't seen you in ages. Okay, so we're all going to put our hands on our hearts. And we're all going to say these declarations out loud and with emotion. With what? Emotion. Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. I commit to my personal development. Whatever I do it 100% or not at all. How I do anything is how I do everything. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I choose financial freedom and the lifestyle it provides. My goal is to create passive income streams. I will master the skills and mindset of business. I will never quit until I succeed. I have a millionaire mind. Turn to both your neighbors, give them a high five, say, you're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. All right. Have a seat, guys. Have a seat. Well done. Well done. All right. Okay. All right, everybody have a seat? Amazing. Okay, so let's get into our training for today. I always like to begin by asking this one simple question, because it's a good starting point every single time we come together. Here's the all-important question. How many of you would like to have the choice? And the key word is to have choice. What's the word? Choice. Come on, twice as loud. Choice. That choice. To be able to spend your time doing exactly what you want without worrying about having to earn a living. How many would like to have that choice? Yeah. In other words, if you work by choice. How many would like to have that situation in their life? Okay, very good. So you get that choice. And again, how many want that choice? On a scale of 1 to 10, how many would want that choice at a level 8 or higher? Level 9 or higher? How many want that's a level 10 that you want? Everybody wants that choice, right?
Yep.
Okay, so how do you get that choice? Be able to spend your time doing exactly what you want without worrying about having to earn a living. How do you get that choice? When you become what?
Financially free.
When you become financially free. What's the two words?
Financially free.
Okay, so how many of you want to become financially free?
Yeah.
Because when you become financially free, you have choice. What do you have?
Choice.
Okay, you have choice when you become financially free. So what is the definition for financial freedom? What is it? Who knows?
Income to live the desired lifestyle that you choose.
Very good. So we have our star student here, Brian, right?
Yay, Brian.
Who's been coming here learning this stuff forever, which is great, because repetition is the mother of learning. How many would agree? Right? So financial freedom is the ability to live the lifestyle you desire without having to work. What's the key expression?
Without having to work.
Come on, twice it loud.
Without having to work.
Or rely on anybody else for your income. How many would like to have that choice? Be able to live the lifestyle you desire without having to work. Okay. So you get to become financially free when you have that choice. Now let me ask you something. For how many of you does it cost money to live every month? Yeah, for some of you it costs a lot more than others, right? Right? Okay, now money coming in every month without you paying for it, without you working for it, right? Because that's financial freedom, without having to work for it. So money that comes in every month without you having to work for it, we have a name for that kind of income. What do we call that kind of income?
Passive income.
Passive or residual income, right? Passive or residual income. Passive income, you lend somebody money at 10%, and then that interest comes in, you didn't do any work for it other than you lent the person the money. True or true? True. Residual income is you sell somebody something, and then every month they buy it again and again and again. So you sell them something once, and then you get an income on it for an unlimited amount of time. You guys understand the difference? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have to be good at one or both. How many think it would be a good idea to get good at creating passive or residual income? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here's the all-important question. At what point in your life did you get trained and educated that to become financially free, to win the money game, to have the choices you want in your life, you have to become masterful? What's the word? Masterful. Come on, twice as loud. Masterful. Thank you. You have to become masterful creating what kind of income?
Passive.
Yeah, passive income. You have to become masterful at creating it. So at what point in your education process were you told that to win the game, you have to become masterful creating passive income?
Never. You.
But that's how you, how many agree? That's how you win the game. How many agree? How many disagree? That there's another way to win. The only way to win the game is to create what kind of income?
Passive.
Then, at what point in your life should somebody who cared about you, who loved you, when should they have told you this?
2 years old.
At what age?
From the day you're born.
Is it such a secret that nobody knows this?
The day you're born.
Yes. It
Is
is.
it?
No.
Is it? I'm asking. Is it such a secret that nobody knows that to win the money game and to become financially free, you have to create passive income? Is that a secret that nobody knows?
No.
So if they don't know what it is. They don't know what residual income is. Because nobody ever told them about it. When should you have learned about this stuff?
King's age.
The day you were born.
His age.
You think that there's a conspiracy theory out there that they want to keep everybody in the dark? You gotta have the only kind of income has to be workers. How many think there's like a conspiracy theory out there? Why aren't all college, universities, high schools, boy clubs, all kinds of groups out there teaching kids from a young age how to create what kind of income?
Passive.
Why isn't everybody from a young age learning how to create passive income?
The system needs workers.
The system needs workers.
Right.
Do you think today's system needs workers as much as in the past? Now that we have technology and we have computers and we have robots, now they don't need workers anymore. What happened to all the workers?
Automation.
Yeah, what happened to all the people that used to do the work? What happened to all the middle class people in America? You know what's happening to the middle class of America? It's disappearing. Because all the people that used to do middle class work, guess who does it now? Robots, computers, people in Indonesia and Philippines. True.
True.
Yeah. You want to survive in the United States of America or Canada or any, like Great Britain today, you better learn how to create passive income. You better learn how to sell. You better learn how to market. You better learn how to take care of yourself. You better not be counting on the government or your employer to take care of you. True. Who's it up to make sure that if you're going to be successful, you're successful?
Me.
Okay, and what kind of income do you need to be creating? Passive income streams. Okay. So problem number one is we have a whole society. In fact, everybody we talk to have been programmed from the time they were kids to create what kind of income?
Working.
Working income, right? Probably our parents were, all of our teachers. Were our teachers workers?
Yes.
What was their job?
Teaching.
Yeah, so what could they teach you? They could teach you how to be a worker, just like they're a worker. True.
True.
Could they teach you how to become independent, successful business entrepreneurs?
No.
No. You go to college. I went to college. How many of you guys went to college? Took a 4-year undergraduate degree in business. Anybody study business? You think at the end of 4 years I could go out there and start my own business?
No.
Not a snowball's chance in hell. I could go work in a business, but I sure as heck couldn't run a business, build a business. I didn't know any of that stuff. True. So then I took a job in sales at Xerox. I learned how to sell, because selling is the highest paid profession in the world. Now we believe that's true. You can make more money in sales than in any other thing, because what's the ceiling on your income in sales? None. How many of you guys want financial freedom? How many want financial freedom as quickly as possible? Then guess what you need to become fantastic at?
Sales and marketing.
Absolutely. The whole thing. How many of you guys realize we're at the halfway point in the year? How many of you guys feel as though you're super exceeding what your expectations were? How many of you guys feel that you didn't come close to what you hoped you wanted to accomplish? Okay, is 6 months a long time? It goes by in a hurry, doesn't it? We're 6 months, right? How many want the next 6 months to be 10 times better than the first 6 months? Okay, well then you should make a commitment right now. You're going to make that happen. I will help you make that happen, but I can't help anybody that doesn't want to help themselves. True. Until you want to help yourself, nobody can help you. Isn't that true?
True.
Okay, very good. So what I want to do is, number one, I want you guys to all understand, to begin with, that you are programmed to fail. You are programmed to create one kind of income, and that is called working income. Now there are two problems with working income. Problem number one is, you got to work for it. Problem number two is, what happens to that income as soon as you stop working?
No income.
Stops coming in. So when do you get to win the money game if the only kind of income you're earning is working income?
Never.
You never get a chance to win the game. True. Okay. So what we want to do now is understanding your programming, right? Everybody has seen this, right? And who knows what this is? Everybody knows this, I hope. What's it called?
Cash flow
The
quadrant.
cash flow quadrant. What's it called? Yeah, it was actually a book written by. Thank you, Ruben. Absolutely. I always want to get Sharon in there as well, because she really wrote it. Yes, go ahead.
Philip Lecter is online. Is he related to Sharon?
Philip is Sharon's son. Hey, Phil, man. I hope I have a chance to see you this weekend. You know, they have a big Napoleon Hill event coming up on Friday and Saturday here in town. Phil is going to be, I believe, one of the presenters. And I love Phil. I love the whole Lecter family. I have a lot of respect for Sharon and for Phil both. And if Phil is on, greetings to you, Phil. Hopefully I'll have a chance to see you. So, E as B and I. Okay, now, according to the experts who wrote this book, they said that 95%, what's the percent? 95%. Are either E's or S's. E stands for employee. S stands for
Self-employed.
Yeah, 95%. Which means how many people are B's, which stands for
Business owners.
and I, which stands for
Investors.
Okay, so if 95% are these, how many are these?
5.
Yeah, 5%, and I would actually venture to say it's even less than 5%. I think it's more like 0.5%, and this is like 99.5%, right? And the thing is that these group of people, they get to share in 5% of all the profits and all the income, and these people get to share in 95% of all the profits and all the income. So if you had a choice, if you had a
Choice.
what's the word?
Choice.
What's the word?
Choice.
Which would you rather be? Over here or over here?
Right side.
Where would you rather be?
Right side.
On the right side. But everybody is programmed to be over here. Now, do you think the programming to be over here is different than the program to be over here?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The programming is different. What do you think the difference is in your program? Between these people and these people. What's the big difference in their program?
Mindset.
Mindset, that's a big part of it, that's for sure, absolutely. But what else?
Passive income versus earned income.
Learning how to create income, absolutely, yes.
Knowledge.
Knowledge, absolutely. Okay.
Leverage. Understanding leveraging.
Thank you, Randy, absolutely. These people, if you're in the B quadrant, you're leveraging business systems. If you're in the I quadrant, you're leveraging money. Neither one of them necessarily have to be your money or even have to be your efforts. If I can hire you for 20 bucks an hour to build websites, and I can sell you a website for $100, and I have you do the work, and I collect $100 from you, and I pay you 20, how much do I get to keep? 80. Is that called a profit?
Yeah.
How much work did I do?
Not much.
I just sold. You did all the work. Where's all the money?
You.
Where's all the money, guys?
Sales.
Where's all the money?
Sales.
Yeah, no matter what I'm in, whether, let's say, again, let's use, marketing as an example. Let's say you want a great marketing funnel. So you have lots of people that are coming to your calendar. They're going to set up a schedule on your calendar, right? So if you get good at marketing, then guess what? Once I learn how to do something, can I train somebody else how to do it?
Yes.
Yeah, I can. All right. Okay. Now, if I say, hey, I'm going to pay you $15 an hour, this is all I want for you to do. You're going to do step A and step B. And then I have somebody else, and they say, I'm going to pay you $15 an hour, and you're going to do step C and step D. And then I'm going to pay you $15 an hour, and then you're going to do step C and step F. So these are all called commodities. What are they called?
Commodity.
If you have a skill or a talent, that's called a commodity. What's it called?
Commodity.
Are there people out there that have lots of skills and lots of talents?
Yes.
Yeah, that don't know how to market?
Yes.
Yeah, and then they're willing to sell their talent for 20 bucks an hour, 10 bucks an hour, 30 bucks an hour. True.
True.
Yeah, in the Philippines, it's like, 200, it's like 5 bucks an hour. So, how many of you guys have ever heard about this book called The 4-Hour Work Week? Okay, and what's the whole premise behind that?
Hire VAs and leverage the shit out of other people.
Yeah. He didn't, what you do is exactly what Brian says. Now, I would love to share with you what I believe is the fastest way to become financially equipped. Instead of the 4-hour work week, you're going to do the 400-hour work week. Now, how can you do a 400-hour work week?
By leveraging other people's time and efforts.
If you hire 10 full-time VAs, each VA is working 40 hours a week, and you hire 10 of them, how many hours a week are they working? 100. Yeah, if you had 10 people working 40 hours a week, all cranking out marketing material for you, phone calling prospects for you, creating marketing materials for you, doing all kinds of stuff for you, and you had 10 of them all working 40 hours a week, do you think you might get a whole lot more done? Yeah. Raise your hand if you think you can get a whole lot. Raise your hand if you think there are people right now that's exactly how they get rich quickly. They figured out one thing. They train a bunch of people how to do it. They say, you're going to spend 40 hours a week doing this. You're going to spend 40 hours a week doing this. You're going to spend 40 hours working. You're going to spend 40 hours a week supervising the other 9 people. Now I got a team. I got 400 hours a week. Can I get shit done? Pardon my language. In 400 hours a week. How much of the work am I doing? Yeah, maybe I'm out there selling. Because where's all the big money? Yeah, I'm out there selling, and I got these 10 virtual assistants doing all the work. That's called leverage. What's it called? Leverage. Yeah. Now, what we want to do is there's nothing wrong, by the way, with being an employee or self-employed. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. as long as it doesn't interfere with your ability to create freedom. How many would agree? But therein lies the problem. Because people are so busy doing this that they don't have any time to create their freedom. True. So again, I never put anybody down for having a job. In fact, for many people, the best thing for them to do is have a steady paycheck and on the side, create a side hustle, a side business. How many think that might be a good way to go? Until you figure it all out, until you know how to create systems, until you know how to market and sell. That way, you don't have to worry about paying the rent each month. True. Okay, so for a lot of, so again, I'm not saying don't have a job. What I am saying is your job, you're trading time for money. What are you doing?
Trading time for money.
You're trading what?
Time for money.
Do you ever create freedom trading time for money? No. When you're self-employed, guess what you're still doing? You're trading
Time for money.
Yeah, you can never become financially free, and especially quickly if you're trading
Time for money.
Yeah, you have to use this word right here. I forget who's mentioned it.
Leverage.
Yeah. What's the word?
Leverage.
Okay, tell me some of the things you could leverage. You can leverage knowledge. What else? Money. How can you leverage money?
By investing, by giving them a return on their money while you use it to build.
You're leveraging other people's money. Yeah. What else could you leverage?
Time.
Relationships.
You could leverage relationships, absolutely. You know somebody that I think might be a great prospect for me. Would you mind introducing?
Right.
How many people think you could do that? How many of you do that? How many of you think you should be doing a lot more? All of us should be doing a lot more. In fact, I have so many people coming to me saying, hey, do you know Phil Lecter? Yeah. Or do you know Sharon Lecter? Yeah. Could you introduce me to them? I have people all the time that are asking me to introduce them to. Now, how many of you think would be better if you could increase your network and get to leverage and meet more people? So leveraging, absolutely leveraging that. What else? What else can you leverage? Can you leverage technology?
Yes.
Yeah, you sure could. Can you leverage automated systems? Is that technology?
Yes.
Yeah. Could you leverage text messaging?
Yes.
Yeah. Could you leverage Facebook Lives?
Yes.
Yeah. Could you leverage being interviewed by the media?
Yes.
Yeah. Could you? How many different ways are there for us to leverage?
Lots.
Lots and lots and lots. The problem is, in order for you to actually do it, you're going to have to use your frickin' mind.
Yeah.
Therein lies the biggest problem, because most people are too frickin' lazy to use their mind.
Yes, sir.
True or true?
True.
How many of you guys want to become financially free? I'm telling you, you guys are so close. The second you decide that you're not going to be so lazy with your mind. Either your mind is going to control you, or which do you choose?
Control my mind.
Right now, do you know who's in control? Me. Who's in control? You or your mind?
My mind.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you might think you're in control. I'm telling you. Until you've studied how the human mind works, and you understand how the human mind works, you might think you're in control, but that ain't the truth. You are not in control. Your mind is in control, and your mind isn't necessarily your best friend, although you think it is. True or true?
True.
Yeah, because we all have what's called a reptilian brain. What do we have?
Reptilian brain.
Yeah, and everything we think and we see and we hear filters through that reptilian brain, and its single most important function is for us to survive. For us to what?
Survive.
I didn't say thrive, I said survive. You guys understand?
Yes.
It is not responsible for you to be happy. It doesn't care if you're happy or not. It only cares that you survive. You understand? It doesn't care if you're successful. That's totally irrelevant to it. It just cares that you
Survive.
Yes. It's deeply ingrained, and everything that you think about gets filtered through this survival mechanism. And so it's constantly on the lookout, like radar, for what's wrong or what could possibly go wrong. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Which means that you live in a state of fear. A state of
Fear.
Everybody lives in a state of fear. True or true? True. You do. Right. Now, If you live in a state of fear, that little voice that's talking to you is coming from a place of fear. You've been listening to that little voice all your life. You don't even realize what I just told you. If you realize that from the moment you were born and you began to acquire knowledge, what's the word?
Knowledge.
Yeah, this knowledge was completely contaminated with lies. You have a brain full of beliefs, and most of them are lies. But you know what? You believe them. And so if you believe the lies, are they true for you?
Yes.
Yeah. 90% of everything you believe is a lie. Did you know that? 90% of everything you believe is a lie. That's why when I always start all of my trainings with don't believe a word I say, the best thing you could do is don't believe a word
I say.
you say. In fact, don't believe a thought you
Think.
And this book right here that our good friend Hardbecker wrote said, I'm going to teach you 17 lies, and I'm going to show you how successful people deal with these lies and how unsuccessful deal with these lies. Now, you're educated enough, you have a choice. What's the word?
Choice.
You can keep listening to these lies the rest of your life like you have up until now, or you can make a decision that you're going to stop listening to those lies and you're going to create a whole new set of beliefs based on truths that are empowering. By the way, nothing is true or false or right or wrong. It's all just a story. You guys understand that? If you believe that you're successful, guess what you are?
Successful.
If you believe you're a failure, guess what you are?
Failure.
Okay, so whatever you choose, you will live into your story. True or true?
Yeah, true.
Okay, very good. So when you're going to be in the B quadrant, because right now, how many of you could just live off your investment? Maybe there's some people here that could. So then you want to get really good in the I quadrant, right? Now you're going to leverage your money. I've got money, how can I earn 10% on it, 12%, 15%? By the way, raise your hand if you believe there are places out there where you could earn 10, 12, 15% on your money. Okay, do you think the average person knows about them?
No.
They don't? What do you think the average person knows?
Stock market.
They know how to go to work, they know how to put their money in the stock market, yep, what else?
I talk to people about it all the time and they say, what if, I'm not quite ready yet.
Okay, what if, that's that little voice, right?
Yeah.
Right, I mean, because isn't there a what if for every situation?
Yes.
Yeah, our brains are great at asking what if, right?
Yep.
Or you can't believe that's true. Okay, so for every situation, that's why if you haven't taken warrior training yet, you have to take it. Right? If you haven't taken warrior training yet, you have to take it. Because how many of you have ever heard your little voice say, well, what if? Raise your hand if you've ever had that little voice. Yeah, all the time. It's an expert at asking what if. Because it wants to keep you right where you are. Why do you think that little voice wants to keep you right where you are and not take action? Yeah, exactly. It wants to keep you inside your comfort zone. Where does that little voice want to keep you?
Comfort zone.
Yeah. Anytime it feels like you might be doing something that takes it out of its comfort zone and says, oh, you better be careful about this. Well, what if this happens? What if that? You'd be better off. Just stay right where you are. You're surviving. True. It doesn't care that if you risk and you succeed, you grow to another level. That's not what it cares about. It just knows, well, if you attempt it and you fail, you're going to feel like an even bigger loser. So don't even attempt it at all. True. It'll rationalize any way it needs to keep you inside your current comfort zone. How many agree with that? You have to understand how your brain works. Your mind is a sneaky little devil, and its job is not to help you become successful. If you want to become successful, guess who needs to take charge? Your conscious mind. You have to consciously say to your subconscious mind, what I've been believing. By the way, what you're believing and what you're thinking up until now, has it helped you get to where you want to get in life?
No.
Has it? Raise your hand. Raise if you feel you've fallen way below your expectations for what you thought you could accomplish in your life. That is because of what? What's the reason why you haven't achieved your full potential? Our programming. How many agree that if you had different programming, you would get different results? Guess what you need to focus on?
Programming.
Your programming. You currently have a whole bunch of stuff inside your brain that you believe with all your heart and all your soul that's a bunch of BS. And the fact is, as long as you keep believing it, you will keep getting the same results. How many of you want different results? Raise your hand if you want different results. If you want different results, you're going to have to take different actions. True or true?
Right.
If you want to take different actions, that means you're going to have different thoughts. True or true? Where do your thoughts come from? Your programming. True or true? Guess who gets to program you?
Me.
Yeah, up until now, guess who's been programming you? Everybody but you. Now you have to take responsibility for, think of your mind as a computer. And imagine that up until now, all kinds of random computer programs with all kinds of viruses you've plugged into your brain. You learned this from that person, and they had a bunch of viruses when they taught it to you, so now you plug that into your brain, now you got all their viruses. You learned from this from that person, they had a bunch of viruses. Because all of us have knowledge, and all of us have knowledge that's completely riddled with lies. And if we're learning from everybody else, guess what we're learning along with this knowledge? All of their lies. And guess what's inside of all of us?
Lies.
And we talk to ourselves more than anybody, true or true?
True.
And guess what we're telling ourselves all day long? A bunch of
Lies.
But we believe it. And as soon as you understand that, as soon as you start questioning all of your thoughts, you start realizing that it's time to get rid of all these disempowering negative beliefs that you've been holding on to for dear life, and say, it's time for me to disassociate. What's the word?
Disassociate.
Harv calls it disassociation. You say, I don't want this way of thinking anymore. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me successful. It doesn't allow me to reach my full potential. It's time for me to get rid of this old belief system and change it and install a whole new set of beliefs. Raise your hand if you believe you can do that. Raise your hand if you think you need to do it. Everybody needs to do it. It's a never-ending process, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. In the B quadrant, we're leveraging like crazy, right? And if you want to make a lot of money in a short period of time, we know in the B quadrant, it boils down to these three things right here. And who knows? RV stands for?
Right vehicle.
The right vehicle. What does that mean? What's that mean?
The right product. You're doing a product or service or something that allows you to reach that. You don't have a cap like working a regular 9 to 5.
Thank you, Brian. Exactly. You have to raise your hand if you believe right now that there are products and services out there that there's a lot of people that want it, a lot of people are willing to pay for it, and if you got into it, you could make a lot of money. Okay. And there's lots of other products and services out there where if you got into it right now, you're going to work like the Dickens and never make any money. So you got to be in the right vehicle. How many would agree? You have to be in something that's in high demand. What are the two words?
High demand.
Yeah. What's the definition of high demand?
Everybody wants it.
More than everybody wants it.
And they're willing to pay for
They
it.
have to be willing to pay for it. Do you have something that a lot of people want and they're willing to
Pay for it.
Do you?
Yes.
If you don't, you have a problem. Right? You got to be in something where there's a lot of people. How many people want financial freedom? Okay, is that in high demand?
Yes.
Are there people that want to spend money to learn how to become financially free? Yes. How many people out there want financial freedom? Everybody. Some of them have money. Do you think those that have money would like to invest their money so they can become financially free? Yes. Is that a big market? Yes. Is it just available in Phoenix or is it available everywhere in the world? Everywhere in the world. Do I have a big market to talk to? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because guess what everybody wants? Financial
freedom.
Yeah, now some of them have no money. I can't help those people. I can a little bit. I do things like Tuesday mornings. We give you free food, free beverages, free everything. But if you really want to take your life to the next level, then if you're willing to invest in yourself, which is, by the way, the best investment you can make, how many agree that investing in yourself is the best investment? Because when you know how to become financially free, how much are you worth? How much is it worth to you to know exactly what you need to do that in the next 12 to 24 months you will be financially free? How much is that worth?
Priceless.
Thank you. And if you didn't answer priceless, you have a problem. Because everybody should want financial freedom. The problem is, we've been so buried by all the challenges and everything, we've given up on our dreams. True or true?
True.
For so many people, that's true. You got to reawaken those dreams again. You've got to re-inspire yourself again. You've got to realize that you are so freaking close. It's important that you have the right vehicle. Now, RK stands for what?
Right knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to become an expert of whatever it is you're doing. You have to become an expert at it. And you have to become an expert at sales and marketing as well. Sales and marketing, whatever it is that you do, those are the three things you need to become experts at. How many would agree? Does that mean if you are in marketing, you have to become an expert, like if you're a digital marketer, you have to know everything there is to know about digital marketing. You have to know what your competitors are doing, what the latest trends are, you know, what's working right now, what's not working right now. You have to become so well versed that you become the go-to person. You guys understand what I'm talking about? Now, how long do you think it takes to become, you know, better than like most people in any subject? How long do you think it takes? How many hours do you think you need to invest to get better than most?
80 hours.
How long?
80.
80 hours? It's certainly, I think, in 80 hours. By the way, is 80 hours a long time?
No.
Is it?
No.
No. If you took 45 minutes a day and practiced handling objections, so that, you know, I'm going to be selling out there and they're going to say, I don't have enough money, it doesn't suit my needs, I need to talk to somebody about it, let me think about it, whatever the common objections are. And if you, for 80 days, you took 45 minutes and you practiced rehearsing the perfect answer to every objection, how good would you be at the end of 80 hours?
Good.
How good would you be?
Very good.
Yeah. And what if you took another 80 hours and for 45 minutes a day, you practiced any one of 9 or 10 different closing techniques? So you ready to get started?
Yeah.
You know, if we can take care of this particular issue for you, are you ready to get going today? Right. There's all kinds of different techniques you could use to close people. True.
True.
And if you get really good at it, guess what? You're gonna close a lot more people. True. In fact, everything you need to learn in order to become great at sales in less than 80 hours, I would say even in 40 hours, 45 minutes of actual practice. What's the word? Practice. Not just any practice, perfect practice. What kind of practice?
Perfect practice.
Yeah, because, you know, if you practice and you're practicing being a shitty salesperson, guess what you'll get good at being? Yeah, but if you practice at being great at asking the right kind of questions, the right kind of way, in the right kind of order, guess what you're going to get great at? Yeah, you're going to get great. How many of you think that if you were great at selling, that would change your whole life? It will. And selling is a learnable
skill.
It totally is, right? Okay. So, RK. Now, RY stands for what? The right you. The right you is probably, it's at the base. Where is it?
The base.
Yeah, it's the root. What is it?
The root.
And the root creates the, yeah, so everything begins with the right you. How many would agree? If you're not the right you, and you always sabotage yourself, does it matter if you have the right vehicle and you have the right knowledge? No. If you have losing habits, does it matter if you're in the right vehicle and have the right knowledge?
No.
No, it doesn't. So where does everything begin with? Where do you need to invest all your time at the beginning? In becoming the right me. Say, I need to become the right me.
I need to become the right me.
How many agree with that? Tell your neighbor, I need to be the right me. I need to be the right me. We all need to become the right me, right? That's what we need to do. We need to become the right me. Okay. All right. So this is all about you becoming the right you. Right? And wealth file number 10, which it says this. He says, rich people are excellent receivers and poor people are poor receivers. Has everybody signed the sign-in sheet? Is there anybody who hasn't signed the sign-in sheet? Okay, so Randy, okay, well, we got, everybody else is signed in? Yes? Yes? Okay, great, all right. Okay, very good. Okay, so rich people are excellent receivers. Now, I think it's very interesting, the very first thing that Harv says, because I found this to be true too, especially over the last 15 years where I've really been heavily involved in the whole personal development field, and seminars, and hosting seminars, going to seminars, being involved with peak potentials. This is absolutely true. He says this, if I had to nail down the number one reason, so the number one, yeah, this is it. The number one reason most people do not reach their full financial potential, it would be this. Most people are poor receivers. Most people are what?
Poor receivers.
Yeah, they may or may not be good at giving, but they're definitely bad at receiving. And because they are poor at receiving, they don't. Isn't that amazing? You would think we'd all be great receivers, but yet we aren't. So Harvard begins to talk about this. He says, people are challenged by receiving for several reasons. First, many people feel unworthy or undeserving. What are the two words?
Unworthy or undeserving.
Yeah. And this syndrome runs rampant in our society. I would guess that over 90%. So what percent?
90%.
I would venture to say over 95%. In fact, there's virtually nobody I know that doesn't suffer from this problem. They have feelings of not being good enough running through their veins. So where does this low self-esteem come from? Where do you think it comes from?
Program.
Yeah. Yeah, our programming or our conditioning. What's another word for programming?
Conditioning.
Another word is, what is it?
Conditioning.
Conditioning. How many of you believe you've been conditioned? Yeah, we've all been programmed, we've all been conditioned, right? He says, for most of us, it comes from hearing 20 no's for every yes. By the way, there was a research study that said by the time we're 10 years old, do you know how many times we've already heard the word no? It's like this ridiculously huge number compared to the number of yeses. For every yes we've heard since growing up, we've heard like 10 times, 20 times more no's. Do you guys know that? You may not remember it, but do you think it has an impact on you to this day?
Yes.
It totally does. He says, you're doing it wrong for every you're doing it right. So let's see, 10 you're doing it wrong for every you're doing it right, and 5 you're stupid for every you're awesome. And even if our parents or guardians were incredibly supportive, many of us end up with feelings of not being able to continually measure up to their accolades and expectations. So once again, we're not good enough. Raise your hand if you don't want to talk about it, right? So in other words, your parents didn't put you down. They said, you're awesome. You're amazing. You can do amazing things. And then when you don't do amazing things, you feel as though you've let them down. Yeah. Raise your hand, believe that actually goes on. It does, right? Even from very supportive parents, right? So he says, in addition, most of us grew up with the element of punishment in our lives. Raise your hand if you had punishment when you were growing up. He says, the unwritten rule simply states that if you do something wrong, you will or should be punished. Raise your hand if you were taught that. If you do something wrong, you deserve to be punished. Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that pretty much that's a universal belief that
Yes.
if you do something wrong, you deserve to be punished?
Yes.
Yeah. Some of us were punished by our parents. Some of us were punished by our teachers. And some of us, in certain religions, we were threatened with the mother of all punishments, not going to heaven. If you do this, the punishment is you're going to hell. And as a kid, do you want to go to hell?
No.
No. So you get threatened. He says, of course, now that we're adults, all that's behind us now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now that we're adults, all that BS is behind us. Is that true?
No.
No.
No, it's not behind us at all. He says for most people, the conditioning of punishment is so ingrained. In other words, it's part of your belief system. If I do something wrong, I need to be punished. That's part of your belief system. But if there's nobody around to punish you, guess what happens?
Punish yourself.
Yeah, have you ever punished yourself?
Yes.
We do it all the time. All the time. He says, today, it says, you were bad, so no candy when you were a kid. Today, if there's nobody near you, say, you're bad, so no money. You don't deserve to have money. You don't deserve to be successful. You don't deserve to be happy. You were bad. You did bad things. You let people down. You did things you shouldn't have done. You said bad things. And guess what? You don't deserve happiness in your life. You're a bad person. You think there are people out there that think that?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you think there are a lot of people out there that think that. Why do you think they think that?
Programming.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. He says, no wonder people have difficulty receiving. One tiny mistake and you're doomed to carry the burden of misery and poverty for the rest of your life. He says, do you think that's harsh?
Yes.
He says it is harsh. He says, but it doesn't make any difference. Your mind doesn't think in a logical way. So you have a mind that every time you do something that you know you did wrong, you screwed up, you let somebody down, we punish ourselves. And the word is called self-sabotage. What's it called? Self-sabotage. Raise your hand if you've ever sabotaged yourself. Raise your hand if you think you don't realize it, but you're sabotaging yourself multiple times every day. All day long, every day. You know what you're actually doing? You are sabotaging yourself with your current belief system. True or true? True. You got to become aware of this stuff before you can reprogram yourself. True or true? True. Yeah, absolutely. So he says, here's something I teach in my seminars that might make you feel better. He says, in the end, it doesn't matter if you're worthy or not worthy when it comes to making wealth. He says, sometimes it's an incentive for you to go out there to prove to yourself that you are worthy. True or true? True. So, it's a whole made-up story anyways. Whether you're worthy or whether you're not worthy, that's a made-up story. How many would agree? Right? And so he says, when you were born, he says, there's no assembly line where before you come into this world, God has his stamp and looks at each other and he says, oh, worthy, worthy, not worthy, worthy, yup, not worthy. No, there is no such thing. Guess who decides if you're worthy or you're not worthy?
I do.
Who?
I do.
Me.
You decide if you're worthy or not.
Me.
And if you decide that you're not worthy, guess what?
Then I'm not worthy.
That's right. Because what you believe is the truth for you. True or true?
True.
Yeah, so what Meyer says is, well, instead of changing your worthiness, just change your story. How many think that would be a better idea? Right? That's exactly what he says. Just change your story. He says, let's see here. He says, it's human nature that the mind protects us. We're always looking for what's wrong. Right? Isn't it true that the mind is always looking for what's wrong?
Yes.
That's our reptilian brain. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? This won't work. That won't work. We're constantly looking for that. He says, if a squirrel doesn't say, well, it's time for me to collect nuts for the winter or acorns, whatever squirrels eat in the winter. I don't know what they do. What's he say? The squirrel says, I'm not going to collect many nuts this year to prepare for the winter because I'm not worthy. So how many squirrels do you think do that?
None.
How many animals do you think do that?
None.
There's only one animal walking on the face of this planet that does that. Guess which animal it is? Yeah, the most intelligent of all animals are the only ones that limit ourselves. True or true?
True.
Yeah. Squirrels don't worry about it. Tigers don't worry about it. The only ones that worry about whether they're worthy or not are who?
Human.
Sometimes aren't we a bunch of idiots? Seriously, aren't we? Like, sometimes it's unbelievable,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So he says, just decide for yourself that you're worthy. Just decide for yourself you're worthy. Can you decide for yourself right now you're worthy?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you can decide for yourself right now you're worthy. Yeah, you can decide right now that you are worthy. But in case you can't decide for yourself, I've received some supernatural powers, and Harv and I both got these supernatural powers, and we both have the ability to anoint you as worthy. So, what I want for you guys, because how many of you guys want to become worthy? Okay, so in case you don't believe that you're capable of agreeing that you are worthy, I have the power inside of me to vest in you worthiness. So what I want for you guys to do is bow your head so I can make the proclamation. Everybody bow your heads. Shut your eyes. Okay, here we go. By the power invested in me, I hereby anoint you as worthy from now until forevermore. Okay, you can raise your hands. All right, you feel worthy?
Yeah. Worthy. Worthy.
Okay, so turn to your neighbor, give him a high five, say, you're worthy. You're worthy. Okay, worthy. Listen, we joke about this, and we have fun with it, but at the end of the day, you know how important this is to your success?
Very important.
How many agree that this is critical to your success?
Yes, sir.
Right? It has nothing to do with anything but your belief system about whether or not you are worthy. If you believe you're worthy, you are. And if you believe you're not worthy, you're not. You will live into your story. How many would agree with that?
Yes, sir.
So you need to change your story. Now he says the second reason that most people have a problem with receiving is that they bought into the old adage that says, it's better to give than to receive. Raise your hand if you've ever heard that. Okay, all right. So actually, the fact is that that's a misquote. That's not the way the quote actually was written. The way the quote was actually written said this: it's better to be in a position to be able to give than to be in a position of having to receive. How many think that that's a different interpretation of that? Right? How many would agree it's better to be in a position of being able to give than being in a position of having to receive?
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin. Which is better, left or right? Which is better, left or right?
Neither.
It's better to be left than to be right. Right? I mean, what's better, high or low? What's better, hot or cold? What's better, in or out? They're two sides of the same thing. True or true? True. Can you have a giver without having a receiver?
No.
Can you have a receiver without having a giver?
No.
No. So why? So it's a 50-50 proposition. True or true?
True.
You have to have a giver and you have to have a receiver. It's not better to be one than to be the other. Right? True or true?
True.
When you are a giver, how does it feel when you give? When you give. When you're a giver, how does it feel when you give?
Gratifying.
Wonderful.
How many feel great when you give? Raise your hand if you feel great when you give. Yeah. Okay. Now, how do you feel if you give and the other person refuses to receive?
Not good.
Frustrating.
Frustrated? How else?
Shitty.
Yeah, you feel shitty, right? I want to give this to you. You won't take it. What do you think you're training that person to do if they keep wanting to give to you and you keep refusing to take? What are you training them to do?
Stop giving.
If you're training them to do, guess what you're training the universe to do?
Not give you anything.
Yeah, because how you do anything is how you do
Everything.
Yeah, so if you refuse to be a receiver from other people, you're training the universe to not give to
Me.
How many agree with that? Right? Very important you understand this. He says, giving and receiving are two sides of the exact same coin. He says, you realize that when someone wants to give you something and you refuse to accept it, you're actually ripping off the other person from the pleasure that they want to give you. True, true. True. Yeah. And if you refuse to receive all the abundance that's out there, you're ripping off the universe. The universe wants you to be abundant. Yes, go ahead, Janice.
And you want to be a gracious receiver, so kindness comes in there.
Yes, absolutely.
So learning to be a gracious receiver of whatever's coming.
Yep. And in fact, Harv uses the example where he went camping and he created a lean-to. How many know what a lean-to is? You know, it's like a canvas that you tie up and you kind of sleep under the lean-to. And while he's out there camping, that night it rains like crazy. And in the morning when he woke up, he noticed that the whole area where he was sleeping was dry, but right where the lean-to was, there were huge puddles of water. True or true? True. And what he said is the universe is abundant. You know, there's lots of rain, but it's not discriminatory. So if the rain can't land in one place, it's going to go to another place where it can land. True or true? True. And if there's money coming to you and you're not willing to receive it, it's going to go somewhere else. True or true? True. Okay, so you have to understand that, right? He says, the next thing I want to do, Harv says, is, again, a little tongue-in-cheek, but he says all of us should do this, and I'm going to say it first, and I want all of you guys to repeat it after I say it. It's in the paragraph on page 117, the second to the last paragraph. He says, at this point in the Millionaire Mind Intensive, I teach people a special prayer. So what's he teach? Special prayer. Yeah, I created after my experience under the tarp. He says, of course it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but the lesson is obvious. It goes like this. He says, universe. If anyone has something great coming to them and they're not willing to take it, send it to me. I am open and willing to receive all of your blessings. Thank you. I want everybody to please stand up. Woo! I want everybody to say that again with me. He says, universe. Universe. If anyone has something great coming to them, and send it to me. I am open and willing to receive all of your blessings. Thank you. Okay, turn to your neighbor, give him a high five, and say, you're awesome. All right, have a seat. Have a seat. All right, very good. So here's the next thing, guys. Okay, have a seat, everybody. All right, very good. That's right. We're all awesome, right? Okay. So the next thing he says is this. He says, rich people work hard and believe it's perfectly appropriate to be well rewarded for their efforts and the value they provide for us. So that's a very important statement because most people read it, but they don't believe it. I'm going to say it again because I want you to understand how important this is. He says, rich people work hard. What do? Work hard. And they believe it's perfectly appropriate to be well rewarded. How many of you think it's perfectly appropriate to be well rewarded for the value you deliver? Yes, sir. Raise your hand if you think it's not perfectly appropriate. He said, there's a lot of people out there that don't. That they're willing to give lots and lots and lots of value, and then they don't get paid for it, and that sets them up to be a great victim. A great what? Victim. Yeah, because all of us have some victim mentality inside of us. We blame, we justify, we complain. True. Okay, so he says, you can't be a good victim if you're rich. Isn't that true? You can't. You can either be rich or you can be a victim, but you can't be...
Stay out of it?
Yeah. What do you think most people prefer to be?
Victim.
Why?
It's easier.
Yeah, because that's what we're programmed to be. It's easier to be a victim and complain and rationalize than it is to just freaking get
Rich.
Right? It is. He says, many poor people actually believe they are better people because they're poor. How many believe that's true?
Yep.
That they believe they're better people because they're poor. And that goes back a long ways. I always talk about when I was a kid growing up and I watched a show called Robin Hood. Raise your hand if you ever watched a show called Robin Hood. When I was a little kid, now I'm older than just about everybody here, but almost everybody here. I take that back. But in Robin Hood, the heroes were Robin Hood and his band of thieves. Isn't that true? Yes. They were the heroes. They were the good guys. Who were the bad guys? The rich people. The rich people were greedy, they were mean, they were cruel, they were heartless. They could care about nothing but themselves and their life, and they didn't care about anybody or anything else. True. And everything that happened to those rich people that deserved to happen to them. True. Now, the poor people, who were the poor people? Were the poor people in Robin Hood like saintly, wonderful, God-fearing, wonderful, fantastic people that loved their fellow mankind, always helped their neighbors, never did anything wrong, very, wonderful people. True. If you were watching that show, which would you rather be, the rich person or the poor person?
The poor guy.
Which would you rather, if you were watching that show, I'm asking you, as a little kid, if you're watching the show, you have a choice. You can be the rich people or the poor people. What are you going to choose?
Poor people.
Yeah. Poor people are godly. Poor people are saintly. Poor people are salt of the earth. Rich people are the scum of the earth. I hate to say it, but that's basically what that show said.
I was wrong in programming people.
How many of you guys ever heard of Robin Hood?
I got programmed.
We're all programmed by this stuff. You guys understand this?
Sure.
Good, right? So let me ask you something. I'm serious. Do you think it's possible for you to be a good person and a rich person at the same time?
Yes.
Do you think that's possible? Yeah. This guy comes in and he says to Harv at one of the breaks, he says, I just don't see how I can feel good about having a lot of money when others have so little. Now, does that make sense?
No.
No, I'm sorry, even if you think there are people out there, I don't feel good about having a lot of money. There are people starving all around the world. I don't feel good about it. Right? There are lots of people that feel that way. And here's what Harv asked. Harv asked him a few questions. What did he ask him? Few questions. Yeah, that's always the way to get people to become enlightened. Ask them the right what? Questions. If you ask them the right questions, you're sure to get the right answer. True. So what did he ask him? He says, what good do you do for poor people by being one of them? Is that a good question?
Yes.
Yeah, what good can you do for poor people when you're one of them? Next one. Whom do you help by being broke? Is that a good question? Yeah, who do you help by being broke? Next. Aren't you just another mouth to feed? Aren't you, when you're broke? That's all you are. He said, wouldn't it be more effective for you to create wealth for yourself and then be able to help others from a place of strength instead of weakness?
Yes.
How many think that would be a whole lot better way?
Yes, sir.
Come from a place of strength to be in a position of being able to give. True. Okay, so that's what he's saying here. For that one man, that was an enlightening few questions. Because he finally realized he could do a lot more good by becoming successful and creating wealth and then being able to help a lot more people. How many think that would be a better way to go? And that was the point that Howard wanted to make. You can do a lot more good that way than any other way. He says, this leads me to an important point. If you have the wherewithal to have a lot of money, have it. Why? If you have the wherewithal to make a lot of money, why should you get it? Why?
You're in a position of strength.
Programming.
Yeah? Why else?
You can help people.
Yeah. Aren't there a lot of third world countries out there where they don't have the opportunities we have?
Yes.
Aren't there even people in this country that don't have the opportunity some of us have?
Yes, sir.
If you have the wherewithal to create wealth, and you want to know something, you wouldn't be here this morning, and you wouldn't be watching this if you didn't have the wherewithal to create wealth. You have a duty. What's the word?
Duty.
To create wealth. So you can help a lot of people in this country and in this planet that don't have the same opportunities you have. True.
True.
Now, either you believe that or you don't. If you're coming from a solely selfish reason for being on this earth, you don't give a shit about anybody else but yourself. But if you truly care about your fellow man and you are living in Phoenix, Arizona, and you have a car to drive and a roof above your head, you have the wherewithal to create wealth. How many would agree? And what Harv says is, you need to accept that duty and take it personally and create wealth because you can do a lot more good in this world with it than without it.
True.
Now, the next thing he says is this. A lot of people say, yeah, but I'm afraid to make a lot of money because if I make a lot of money, it'll change me as a person. Right? I'm going to turn into an asshole or whatever the case may be. Well, first of all, the only people who say that are what?
Broke.
Yeah, the only people who say that if I get rich, I'm going to be a totally different person. They're broke. Because the fact is, what Harv says is this. All money does is it magnifies your personality.
Yes, sir.
If you are a kind and generous person, having money allows you to be what?
More kind.
More kind and more
Generous.
If you're an asshole, having a lot of money allows you to be what? Yeah, absolutely. Having a lot of money doesn't change who you are. It just enhances who you are. So if you are a good person, a generous person, a kind person, a loving person, having a lot of money allows you to be more of it. If you are a greedy person, a scoundrel, a crook, an evil person, having a lot of money will just allow you to be more of that. True. Okay, so the thing is hopefully you're going to you want to get rich for the right reasons. How many would agree? Very good. All right. So how do you become a good receiver? Well, first of all, he says you need to nurture yourself. What do you need to do? Nurture yourself. Yeah. We're going to be talking about a money management system that we teach. And 10% of all your money goes into what's called your play jar. What's it called?
Play jar.
Yeah, your play jar, 10%. So if you're earning $5,000 a month, $500 every month goes into your
Play jar.
To nurture yourself, to show yourself that you are worthy of having the better things in life, to have a taste of it. True.
True.
Right? Okay, that's the first thing. Second, I want you to practice going crazy with excitement and gratitude anytime you receive any money. So what's he say? He says, you look at it, you see a quarter, you pick it up and you say, I'm a money magnet. What do you say?
I'm a money magnet.
Again.
I'm a money magnet.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are reminding the universe that you are a money magnet. You are thanking them for any money. And the more you create that energy, guess what the universe is going to deliver to you? More money. Yeah, you're telling them, I'm a money magnet. The universe says, oh, you're a money magnet? You appreciate getting money? Here's some more. Here's some more. As long as you keep thanking, as long as you keep being excited about it, as long as you put out that energy, that's the energy, you have to create an energy where it's natural and normal for you to begin receiving abundant amount of money. How many want to be that person? It comes from changing your blueprint. It comes from changing your programming. True or true? True. Absolutely, you bet. All right, so let's finish this up here. I want to make sure we finish this on time. He says, once you become truly open to receiving. So how many of you guys are truly open to receiving? Right? Oh, universe. What's the expression? What was it he said?
I am a money magnet.
No. I want.
Universe, if anyone has something great coming to them and they're not willing to take it, send it to me. I'm open.
Yeah, that's it. Universe. Yeah. If anyone has something great coming to them and they're not willing to take it, send it to
Me.
Send it to who?
Me.
Send it to who?
Me.
Thank you. I am open and willing to receive. Let me hear you say that.
I am open and willing to receive.
Say it like you mean it.
I am open and willing to
You
receive.
don't mean it. Say it like you mean it.
I am open and willing to receive
All of your blessings. Let me hear it.
all of your blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
should memorize it and say it over and over and over and over and over again. You're sending messages out into the universe. You want to say them with feeling.
Feeling.
What do you want to say them with?
Feeling.
Very good. Say them with feeling. All right. Okay. So I want to make sure we finish on time here. I'm always very, very careful for the time. So let's see here. He says, once you become truly open to receiving, the rest of your life will open as well. Not only will you receive more money, how many would like to be receiving more money? Good. But you'll also receive more love. I would like to get more love. More peace. How many would like to have more peace? More happiness. How many would like to have more happiness? And more fulfillment. How many would like to have more fulfillment? Well, and the question is, why? Why will you get all these things? Not only more money, but all these other things as well. Because another principle you always hear us say is, how you do anything is how you do everything. I believe that's true.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So if you're a poor receiver in all areas of your life. True or true?
True.
That's right. The good news is that you can become an excellent receiver. How many want to become an excellent receiver? Until you become an excellent receiver, it doesn't matter how much knowledge or if you're in the right vehicle you have. Because until you're an excellent receiver, you're a poor receiver. When all the money starts coming in, you won't receive it. True or true?
True.
It starts with you opening up and becoming an abundant receiver. True or true?
True.
Absolutely. So he says here, if you're a poor receiver, you're poor in all areas. The good news is when you become an excellent receiver, you become an excellent receiver everywhere. Good or good?
Good.
And open to receiving all that the universe has to offer in all areas of your life. Now, the only thing that you'll have to remember is to keep saying thank you for all you're receiving and all of your blessings. Good or good?
Good.
Now, we only spent, 45 minutes talking about this subject. But you want to think about this today, tonight, tomorrow, until this sinks in. Because this is, Harv says at the beginning of this, over 90% of all people suffer from this. I'm saying it's like 99% of all people suffer from a feeling of unworthiness. They do. And as long as you suffer from a feeling of unworthiness, it doesn't matter what you do in your life. If you're not worthy, you're not worthy. And if you're not worthy, you don't deserve to get that money. So even if it was coming to you, you're not going to get it. True or true?
True.
This has nothing to do with what business you're in, how good you are at sales. It has everything to do with the inner game of success. True or true?
True.
And your programming right now is not programming you to be successful. So you need to understand it. Okay, so let's finish with the declaration. So I want everybody to stand up with a little bit of energy. 1, 2, 3. Okay, very good. So I'm going to say it first. Put your hands on your heart. First I'll say it, and then we're all going to say it together. I am an excellent receiver. I am an excellent receiver. I am open and willing to receive massive amounts of money into my life.
I am open and willing to receive massive amounts of money into my life.
Turn to both your neighbors, give them a high five, say, you have a millionaire mind. Randy, you have a millionaire mind. All right, very good. Okay. All right, have a seat, guys. Have a seat.
You have a millionaire mind.
All right. Okay. Okay. So for those of you that have been watching on Facebook, hey, let's give it up for Randy. Great job, Randy. Did you want to say something?
We have 51 people watching online, including Denise Reed and Armando Gloria and Eileen.
Oh, that's so great. Well, we missed you guys. Come back next week. All right, so thank you guys so much. I always end with one word for this. We're going to finish up here, but first we'll say goodbye to our Facebook fans. And so, again, thank you guys so much for watching. I always end with one word. That word is Namaste. Thank you.